back, and I'm so appreciative to have the amazing and talented Jennifer Prettyman here with me. And she lived out in Los Angeles for a long time and has all sorts of interesting information to tell us about that. But first we'll talk about the shorts. So Jennifer, anything interesting that you can tell us about these two shorts, starting with Retirement Plan, where you're an assassin?
Boy, interesting. I suppose it would depend on your idea of interesting. It was a lot of fun. It was a fun film to make. We shot it in 2 days, Dan and I. That's the first thing we ever worked on together. And, you know, the filmmakers were great. It was a good experience.
What school was it for?
It was Metro State.
Okay. And then for Office Trouble, what school was that shot for?
That was actually for a film class at IFP, and John Springer was teaching the class. And I had worked in one of his films before, and so he asked me if I would help him out and do this for him. So, and it was a lot of fun.
Okay, so let's talk about your knowledge of Los Angeles. Tell us about how long you lived out there.
I lived in Los Angeles for 8 years.
So if somebody is thinking about toying with the notion of moving out there and becoming an actor, actress, what would you tell them? Other than don't.
You know, it's funny you ask that because there's quite a few people who I know, and you probably know as well, who have recently moved out there, and they've asked me that same question. What advice do you have? You know, what can you tell me? Basically, if you go out there, you have to really want it. You have to give it 110% and just really go for it. You know, there's so many people doing what you want to do, whether it's acting or production, or if you're an artist or a dancer or whatever it may be. Everybody moves out there to do that. So, you know, you'll walk into an audition and there'll be 40 people there that look just like you. It's just kind of the way it is. So I would just say you have to really want it, and you have to realize that it's going to take some time, and you have to be patient and just keep pushing for it and keep your day job because it's really expensive to live out there. So, you know, there were times where I had 2-3 jobs, plus I was going to acting school, auditioning. I don't know, it can be kind of tricky, but it was a lot of fun.
Now, I know one of the stereotypes is the actor who winds up working as a waiter or waitress all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But you were actually telling me about how it's not that difficult to do extra work on a daily basis.
Oh, sure. I mean, you can sign up with different casting agencies like Central Casting, and they cast for a lot of the major motion pictures. And one of my first jobs out there was as a stand-in for Jennifer Jason Leigh. And I worked on this film for, I think it was about 5 weeks, as her stand-in and double. And I did some stunt work and stuff. So that was like a 12 to 14 hour a day job that I did for that long. So I didn't have a regular job at that time, and I was able to live off the money for a while. So yeah, I mean, you can do that, and then it's a good way to network and meet people. But if you're going to do that a lot, you're not going to be able to audition either. So,
is there still the danger? I know a lot of people who've lived out there in the past have said, "Oh, you never want to do extra work because then you are pigeonholed into that, and nobody will want you for anything else." Is that still the way of thinking out there, or has that changed?
Yeah, except I don't know of any actors who've lived out there who haven't done extra work. Everyone has done it. They might not talk about it or say they've done it or whatever. But it is, like I said, it's a great way to meet people. Sometimes you'll get a line. Sometimes, I mean, like I worked on this commercial and there was like 300 people at the commercial when I first moved out there. And I got picked to be like one of 5 that was a featured extra. So I got paid extra money, and you know what I mean? So it's like sometimes it can work out. It's not something that you want to do all the time. And it's not something you want to do if you're like one of 100 people. If you're just in a crowd, then I would say no, you know.
What about if somebody's moving out there and they literally know nothing about the place? Where is a good area for them to live that's inexpensive, but yet they're not going to be shot dead the minute they step out their door?
Inexpensive and safe? Good luck with that. I don't know. I suppose North Hollywood would probably be the least expensive, but there's a lot of gangs there. You know, depending on where in North Hollywood. LA is really weird because you can live, you know, on this block and it's really safe, and then you go 2 blocks over and it's really bad. So, I don't know, you just have to be careful. I mean, I lived out there and never got mugged or anything, so I was okay.
Interesting, interesting. So, due to getting married and having children, you wound up moving back here.
When my son was really small, I just realized I didn't want to raise him out there. It's kind of a crazy lifestyle. And my family was here, and you know, there's a great film community here, actually. There's a lot to do. It's tougher to make a living at it because not a lot of jobs pay here. But once you kind of, you know, start networking and get to work with the group of people here in the industry, it's a great place to be. I mean, I'm really enjoying it. So sometimes I miss Hollywood, but I'm okay. I'm okay being here right now.
How would you compare Minneapolis to Hollywood as far as like ease of getting cast in things? Is it easier here?
Oh, it's much easier. Oh, definitely. And every time I work in something, I know somebody, you know, who I've worked with before or whatever. It's kind of the same people working all the time, which is kind of nice. Yeah, out there, it's really hard. It's really hard to get a decent role. I mean, you might get a line here or there, or a featured extra thing or whatever, but there's just so many people, and there's so much nepotism out there, and it's all about who you know. A lot of it is luck. But yeah, there's just so many people doing it.
So tell us some of the shows and movies that you've been on.
Well, I have kind of a fun story. I worked on the TV show Roseanne, and that was quite an experience. I was hired on as a dancer. I just had this little dance bit. And Roseanne got very upset with us because basically what you do on a TV show like that that's filmed in front of a live audience is you rehearse, you know, through the week, and then on the final day you shoot it in front of a live audience. And so we had been, you know, rehearsing our little dance bit all week, and then on the last day we were rehearsing before we were going to shoot, and she walks over and watches us and then decides to switch it all up. So she's like, no, we're going to switch partners. You dance with him and you dance with her, and she switched it up. And we're like, are you kidding me? I have to do this live now? So I talked to the first AD, and I was like, why is she doing that? Now I have to start all over. And he's like, you know what, don't even pay attention. Just go ahead and do it the way you had been rehearsing it. She won't even notice. So we're like, okay. So we just went back to doing it the way we were. Well, sure enough, she walks over and sees that we hadn't, you know, followed her direction, and she had a fit. I mean, bleep this, bleep that, what the, you know, oh my God. I mean, just flying out of her mouth. And I was like, okay, I'm fired. And she was kind of a scary woman. But then Tom Arnold came over and was like, Roseanne, you know, what are you yelling about? And he told her to just leave it alone, leave it the way it was, and he pretty much yelled at her, and then she got upset and stormed off, and it was crazy. But we did end up doing it the way we had originally rehearsed it, so it all worked out.
What was it, a scene that she was even in?
No. No, it was a scene that Darlene was in, and she was at this dance. Yeah, so no, she wasn't even in it. I don't know, I think she was just kind of on this little power trip or something, but Tom Arnold, her husband at the time, put her in her place, so that was interesting. So
tell us about when you were a guardian angel out there also.
Yes, okay, that was an interesting time in my life. I was a struggling actress, waitress, guardian angel on the side at night. I was a part of the Los Angeles Hollywood chapter of Guardian Angels, and I was the only female at the time. And yeah, we would just go on patrol, and we would patrol Hollywood and, you know, make sure everything was cool, streets were safe. A lot of times we would work with the police, and they would radio things into us, like, you know, they were so busy dealing with drive-by shootings and things like that. So when they would get calls for, I don't know, maybe a bum who wouldn't leave at Popeye's Chicken, or somebody exposing themselves in the alley or whatever. They would call us and we would have to go deal with it. I saw all kinds of things. Yeah, I was shot at once. Yeah, crack fiends. Oh, you name it. I saw it.
Did you get to beat anybody up?
No, I never did. I never did. I made a citizen's arrest. We did that and chased a couple of people, but no, I never actually beat anybody up.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks so much for being here, Jennifer. We can all benefit from your wisdom, from your Hollywood experience, and we certainly enjoyed watching your shorts, and we'll watch many others.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on your show.